It's like, closed session meeting for April 16th, 2024, and we will open today's meeting at 5 o'clock. And can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Martinez?
Here.
Councilmember White?
Here.
Councilmember Voigt?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara?
Here.
Mayor Finn?
Here. Thank you. Do we have any public comments for items regarding closed session?
I have no written requests. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line? Rudy, can you try that again? We're not hearing his audio. I'll check with him and I'll let you know after.
Okay. All right, in the meantime, Mr. Pinckney, can you read the items for discussion?
Yes, the council will meet in closed session. Item B1, public employee performance evaluation, and that involves the city manager. B2, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The agency designated representatives are David Fenn and Jessica Voigt. The unrepresented employee is city manager. Item B3 is conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The APN numbers for the property are listed on the agenda. The agency negotiator is the city manager, Elizabeth Gibbs, or her designee. The negotiating parties are the city of Beaumont as potential purchaser, and JRT BP1 LLC as potential seller. Under negotiation are price and terms. And then lastly, B4, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2, 3, and/or 4, and that involves one potential case.
All right, thank you, sir. And back, Nicole?
We have no callers on the line.
Okay, thank you. So we will adjourn at 5:02. Thank you.
There it is.
All right, y'all ready? Good evening, everyone. We're going to open today's regular session of the City Council meeting for April 16th at 6:34 PM. And can I get a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Martinez?
Here.
Councilmember White?
Here.
Councilmember Voigt?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Here.
Mayor Finn?
Here, thank you. And Mr. Pinckney, can we get a report out of closed session?
Yes, the council met in closed session. Item B1 was public employee performance evaluation. The title of the position, city manager, there was no reportable action taken. Item B2, conference with labor negotiators. The agency designated representatives, David Fenn and Jessica Voigt, the unrepresented employee, city manager. There was no reportable action taken in closed session. Item B3, conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. The APNs for the property are listed on the agenda. The agency negotiator, the city manager, Elizabeth Gibbs, or her designee. Negotiating party, City of Beaumont as potential purchaser, and JRT BP1 LLC as potential seller. Under negotiation price and terms, there was no reportable action taken in closed session. And item B4, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2, 3 and/or 4, one potential case. There was no reportable action taken on that item either.
All right, thank you, sir. And do we have any requests for excused absences? Okay, seeing none, and then we will officially open our meeting with an invocation by Mr. Mike Levitsky. And then followed by that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Martinez.
I don't see many lights here.
Got it. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your great kindness to us. Lord, we thank you for life and breath and for family and for all of the things that you've blessed us with. God, we thank you that you have given us the ability to make decisions. And I pray for the city council tonight as they are making decisions, Lord, that you would give them wisdom. Lord, wisdom that would be in alignment with your will. Lord, wisdom that would be directed towards love of others and kindness. And Father, we pray for those who are here tonight to speak and to have their issues heard. Lord, that they would do so in the same manner. Lord, that they would consider others before themselves, and they would conduct themselves in a manner that is worthy of love and of your love for us. Lord, we thank you for your goodness to us. We thank you for your Son, Jesus, who gives us an offer of forgiveness of sins. And we pray that you would continue to bless the city of Beaumont, and may it be a city that upholds justice and righteousness. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Place your right hand over your heart, please. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. And do we have any adjustments to the agenda this evening?
We do, Your Honor. I need to pull item I-1 from the agenda this evening. There are some legal issues that I need to address between now and the time this item comes back, so we need to pull it off the agenda tonight.
Okay, thank you, sir. And so for members of the public, that is in reference to the public hearing and consideration of the Beaumont Point specific plan, which was continued from March 19th. So we appreciate you coming out to voice your opinion, but we will bring that back at a future date, and then we'll reconvene on that in the future.
Mayor, may I ask a question of the city attorney, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will end up re-notifying this as a meeting when it happens the next time, correct?
That would be the intent.
Okay.
That we would renotice it, and people would have an opportunity to come in and be heard at that time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. And thank you for the question. And so again, for the public, then we will make sure that there's plenty of notice so we can invite you back. So thank you. So then moving on, do we have any conflict of interest disclosures for this evening?
None?
Okay, seeing
Why
none.
don't we take a quick,
Yeah, we'll just give it a
5-minute
moment
break.
here. And for those who can hear me, I know there's some folks in the gymnasium. We do have some room in the council chambers now, so if you'd like to come join us in here, we have some open seats.
Everybody took a shower, so that's not why they're on.
Maybe.
Okay, so we'll continue on. We're going to turn this over to Nicole Wheelwright. We have a video from our county civil grand jury that we would like to share with the public. So Nicole.
Yes, the County of Riverside has asked us to share a short video to play at our council meeting to help with their recruitment process. There's just a short 1-minute video that we can have played.
Riverside County is a wonderful place to live and call home. And here's your chance to give back to the community. The County of Riverside Civil Grand Jury is actively recruiting new members. So what does the Civil Grand Jury actually do? It acts as the public's watchdog to improve local government and to respond to citizens' complaints, and make sure our tax dollars are being spent wisely. If you've lived in Riverside County for at least 1 year, you're a U.S. citizen 18 years or older, knowledge of English, with sound judgment and character, then we're looking for you. A daily stipend, plus mileage and parking, is included with this position. For more information, visit riverside.courts.ca.gov, or you can call 951-777-3633. Riverside County is a wonderful...
All right, thank you, Nicole. Do we have any public comments for any items that are not on tonight's agenda?
I have no written requests. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
All right, thank you. And so we'll move on to the consent calendar. Do we have any items to be pulled for discussion?
I'd like to pull item G5.
Okay, we have G5 pulled. Any others? Okay, can I get a motion for the
Mayor, if there are
rest?
no other items, I'll make a motion to approve items on the consent calendar, G1 through G4 and G6 through G8.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes, thank you. So we'll turn that to you, Ms. Voigt, for your question on item G5.
Yeah, I just wanted to extend a thank you for this. I know that as part of our strategic planning, we had requested for a grants person to be put in. And I really appreciate the manner in which this has been laid out. So I just really kind of wanted to pull it as a thank you and to highlight to the community that we are looking for alternative methods of funding. And one of those ways is that we are using this grants position. So I just really thought that that was such a positive thing for the community moving forward. So thank you guys for that. Otherwise, I will move to approve G5.
Okay, any comments or a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes, thank you. Then on to item H, Youth Council Report. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, so we didn't have a quorum again, but we did have presentation by Community Services, and Mr. Story and Ms. Starr and Ms. Norville were there present and did an excellent presentation for those students that did show up. And staff is working on recruitment for 24-25, and that is all for now.
All right, Mr. Martinez, just a follow-up question. Is that for juniors and seniors?
Right now, it's juniors and seniors, but we have all seniors except for one sophomore. Sophomores, juniors, seniors right now.
Okay.
So next year, we're moving it to ninth grade as well, so I believe we're going 9 through 12. So our concentration is going to be at the lower, because this happens a lot. We expect that as the years get closer, the months get closer to graduation, senioritis is kicking in, and we saw it a little earlier bloom than normal. So we have ways to help make sure that we account for that.
Okay, very nice. Okay, thank you. So on to item I for public hearings, and so we have pulled I1, so we'll move to item I2, which is our fiscal year 2024, 2025 through 2026, 27, the short-range transit plan, and our staff report by Ms. Carrie Mendoza.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have in front of you a quick PowerPoint presentation. It's in your packet that reviews the plan. It mimics what we brought to you on April 2nd. We brought you Table 4, 4.1, and 4.2, so the next 3 fiscal years' plans. We took back your recommendations in regards to the COA, and RCTC completely agreed, so that is the only change you'll see attached in this draft document. Other than that, it's full of lots of data and charts regarding ridership and transit routes and the changes that we presented to you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have in regards to the plan itself.
Okay, thank you. So we will open the public hearing at 6:45. And Nicole, do we have any public comments?
I have no written requests. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
Okay, so we will close the public hearing at 6:45. And do we have any council questions or comments? Well, I can't see your microphone base there. Okay. All right, seeing none, so then we just need a motion to move this forward, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to hold the public hearing and approve the plan for submission to Riverside County Transportation Commission with, as presented.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Roll call?
Councilmember Martinez,
Yes.
Councilmember White,
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura,
Yes.
Mayor Finn.
Yes, thank you. So on to Section J, our action items. And so item J1, appointments to city committees and commission. And so we'll start off with a staff report by Ms. Nicole Wheelwright.
Good evening, council. Currently, there are vacancies on the Planning Commission, Finance and Audit Committee, and Economic Development Committee. There was a period where applications were received, and we received 7 applications for Planning Commission, 1 application for Financial and Audit Committee, and 3 applications for Economic Development Committee. So in your packets are the applications, and then I've also provided a blank voting spreadsheet, and we'll also put that up on the screen to help if the council wishes to use that as a way of ranking. We do have some of the applicants here, and I believe we may have one on the phone line also. If you wish to ask questions or have them come up for an introduction, and we can go from there. And I will let you take it away.
Okay, thank you. And do we have any public comments?
I have no written requests other than the applicants here.
Okay.
Rudy,
then-
do we have any callers on the line?
I have a caller on the line.
Is it one of the applicants for questions?
No.
Okay, you can go ahead and send it through. Caller, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Go right ahead, you're on with council.
Okay, did they ask any questions? I can just let you know that my name's Ron Roy. I'm a 16-year resident of the city of Beaumont. And as my statement says.
Mr. Roy, this is Mayor Fenn. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yes, sir.
but the reason we were asking for public comments on the general item is your comments and related to being considered for one of the committees?
Oh, sir, I appreciate Nicole helping me out here. The agenda's changed a lot, so I'm actually going to be, you're welcome to interview me
Okay.
through
So
a
then
phone call.
if it's
I
okay,
apologize.
Mr. Roy, with your permission, what we'd like to do is keep you on the phone line. And then when we
Yes,
come
sir.
to the particular committee that you have applied for, then we would like to hear from you at that point. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
So no other general public comment on the item at hand, correct?
Not for me.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Okay, so to the council, we have, I'd like to change the order a little bit in reference to the order that it's in the agenda and take the Finance and Audit Committee first. We have one applicant for that, and I think that we can go through that relatively quickly. Is that okay with y'all? All right, and then if I could, I'd like to give each applicant a couple minutes to be able to share some information, about why they applied and so forth. But I do have a question for council first, and Mr. Rader, please correct me if I have this wrong. So if you would like, you can come up to the microphone. So Ron Rader is applying for our Finance and Audit Committee. And Mr. Rader, I know you serve on the hospital board. Is that an elected position?
The position I'm in right now isn't elected. I was appointed to that position. It was an elected position. And I will be running for that position in the fall.
Okay, all right. So we appreciate your service in that. My question is for council. This is a member of the public's position to serve on our committee. Is there any conflict with Mr. Rader serving in the capacity on our Finance and Audit since he serves as an elected official on the hospital board?
Yeah, the issue would be whether it's an incompatible office, and the other board that you serve on that you're elected is which one, the hospital?
The hospital district board.
Hospital district board?
Yeah.
I don't think they would
Healthcare
be
district board.
incompatible offices, because normally the concern that you have with incompatible offices, one has the power of appointment or authority or supervision over the other, and these seem completely unrelated.
Okay, I just wanted
I don't
to ask that question for clear transparency
Absolutely.
on our behalf and yours as well.
Absolutely.
He may
Appreciate
want to
that.
ask his counsel at the hospital district the same question and get an opinion from them, because if there was an incompatible office, the result would be he would lose his prior position, not this one.
Okay.
So that may be something you want to ask.
What
her.
was the
But I don't think it's an incompatible office, but you may want to ask the hospital general counsel.
Yeah,
to-
I'll see them on
find
Saturday. So the previous office you mentioned, it would be
Is
what?
is vacated, yeah.
And with what office is that? The
The
one I'm
that
applying
you're
for
already
now?
on, the one that you're on now, the hospital board seat
Oh,
would
okay.
be the one you would be giving up.
Yeah,
But
I'll-
I do
I'll
not
find that
believe
out.
they are incompatible.
So
Oh, that's
Mr. Rader,
legal.
if you would prefer to check with the hospital first, we can bring this item back and reconsider a position for the Finance and Audit if you'd like to have that clarified.
Mayor, before you answer that, I'd like to suggest that if he's the only person who's applied, I think most of them know him, and I would like to make a motion to put him on the Economic Development Committee. He can choose to not to do that if he determines, I think that that's the best way to go. So I'm making a motion to put him on the Economic Development Committee.
Finance and Audit.
I'm sorry, Finance and Audit
No.
Committee. So my motion is to put Mr. Ron Rader on for the Finance and Audit Committee. And then you can let us know whether or not
Yeah.
you feel that that's.
Whether I need to recuse myself or not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be an incompatible office.
I don't think so
but-
either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can make that decision tonight pending his acceptance at a future date, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll
All right.
second.
All right, so we got a first and second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes. Welcome aboard, Mr. Rader. We'll
Congratulations.
look forward to your response.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for your interest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so in the other two positions that we're looking to fill is we have one seat for the Planning Commission, and we have 7 applicants for that. And then we have the Economic Development Committee, which we have 4 positions for, which is a Beaumont community member, industry expert, and then alternate 1 and alternate 2. So my question for those who are requesting to serve on the Planning Commission, if you are not chosen for that and you would like to serve on the Economic Development Committee, to please share that with us, as we may be able to make a decision with you on that. So with that, and having the fact that we have 7 candidates for the Planning Commission for 1 vacancy, I'd like to take the Planning Commission next. Okay with council? Sure.
It is, but I'd like to make a comment. We had the same conversation last time around, and I think it would be more appropriate that we do not ask them whether or not they will serve on another committee.
Let them volunteer. I appreciate it.
I even think doing that, suggesting that they volunteer, will unfairly, it won't present them with a fair shot at the position, in my opinion, because they may be thinking, well, I'll fall back to this, and then there may be some of us who are thinking, well, he's willing to fall back to that, maybe we do something. I just think that we should do these separately. That's my opinion.
Okay, so it's a good point, Mr. White. We then want to officially open it up for someone to apply for the Economic Development Committee? Because even though we had a deadline with applications that were turned in, do we want to extend that this evening when we get to that point?
Yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Because there's other people who would want to put their names in as well.
Okay, all right.
I just think we should do it separately. If we don't fill the positions for the other committee tonight, then we can go out to it afterwards. Again, I know we've done this in the past.
I agree.
I just
Okay.
have felt uncomfortable about it.
All right, understood. Okay, very good. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. So then we will take the Planning Commission first. And again, we have 7 candidates. And I think I have it in order of the agenda with an email from Cesar Marufo that asked to be considered for that as well. And so and we'll give each candidate 2 minutes to come and express to the council on why they'd like to be considered for the Planning Commission. And so is Mr. Brian Watson in the room, and could he come forward or on the line? Okay,
Excuse me, does
Yes.
somebody have a pen? Mine's an electronic pen, so. Oh, never mind. I've got one. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so it doesn't appear that Mr. Watson is here this evening. And so is Carlos Cueva, if I'm saying his name correctly? Yes. All right.
Good evening.
Go right ahead,
Mr.
sir.
Mayor, members of the council. My name is Carlos Cueva, and I put my application in for Planning Commission. I wanted to give a little bit of background. I have approximately 30 years in land development, starting in Orange County through Yucaipa and into the desert. I've also been involved in farm worker housing with Desert Alliance for Community Empowerment, doing housing projects in Polanco parks in the desert. I have also been involved lately with the County of Riverside. I am a project manager under the Facilities Management PMO office, and my primary projects are healthcare. So I deal in the RUHS Medical Center in Moreno Valley. One of the reasons why I decided to, the time's not going to, decided to move into this position was empty nester. My family has, my kids have moved out, so I decided to get involved. And first thing I got involved in is a fuel modification zone that was supposed to be in the back of my property. Got that in and got the juices going and said, you know, I'm going to apply for this. I am open for any questions that you may have. Let me see. I've also done anything from a half section to a specific plan, 1,100 homes in Aliso Viejo. My half section that I did was in the city of Desert Hot Springs. I was able to secure, I was working with Desert Hot Springs because they were doing their general plan, And I was able to get my project in their general plan, so I was one of the only developers that was able to do that at the time. So other than that, I'm open to any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, sir. Do we have any questions right now for Carlos? Okay, thank you, and we may call you up in the future for a question or two.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
And then we'd like to call up Carlos Nava. Is he here this evening? Okay, then we'll move on to Philip Westbrook. Okay, so I just again calling either Brian Watson or Carlos Nava, or or Philip Westbrook. Okay. And then Mr. Bedoya. So this is Cedric Bedoya, so thanks for being here.
Good evening. Thank you. So I just was thinking about why I would want to be on the Planning Commission. And when I did it before, I learned just so much more about the city that I didn't know how intricate it was. I didn't know all the things that were involved, and I didn't know how important the different committees were to the city. And in learning, it made me want to participate more. And I wasn't successful when I reapplied for the position, but I saw it came up and I thought, well, I'd still like to contribute. So I'd like to use the experience I had previously and then just my desire to be a help and a resource for the city. So I'm open to any questions that you have.
All right, thank you. Any immediate questions for Mr. Bedoya? Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then back to you, Nicole. We have Ron Roy next. Is Ron still on the phone?
Yes, he is.
Mr. Roy, if you can hear me, your time is yours. You've got a couple minutes to share with us.
Thank you, Council. I appreciate it. My name's Ron Roy. I'm a 16-year resident of the city of Beaumont, and I've been involved in the community ever since I've been here. My background is in working for the County of Riverside in County Assessor and Real Property Division, and also in the Business Property Division and cadastral drafting. Also was a community college instructor in a number of colleges with my anchors as West Los Angeles and Santa Monica, and teaching political science. Since I've been out here, one of the first things I did was to get involved in transportation issues, where I worked with the city to get the adoption of Route 120 commuter link service from Beaumont to Redlands, and I anticipate with time that we'll see that similar service out to the Coachella Valley. I also got interested in the Sierra Club, and they made me past area chair, and we went through a litigation on the Hidden Canyon Industrial Park project, where I was lead person on that. We reached a settlement with the developer at Hidden Canyon, got creek protections for parts of the Santa Ana River watershed and the Coopers Creek, also protected at least Bell's Vireo nesting site, and worked with the developer there. Also been involved in most of the larger warehouse projects in the past area. For example, this has led to me becoming asked to join Past Action Group, which is a community group to get more citizen representation in land use issues. And recently, I've made comments, and my comments were recorded in the 2040 Beaumont General Plan update for 2040, and I appreciated that. Recently, in October this year, I worked with the Planning Commission and the City Council when they wanted to do an update on land use. I noticed in the Fairway Canyon area that there was some incorrect zoning designation for a creek bed and an area that was going to be targeted for development as industrial. That was the Nicholas Creek Park property. Worked with the Planning Department and City and the city to get, and appreciate the efforts of the staff in planning and city. And we updated that to more reflect the current land uses. So have a lot of experience in land use, specific and general plans. I mean, I can go way back. I was an intern in the planning department for the county of Riverside way back. But I have a lot of experience, and I think I'd like to demonstrate that those are examples of what I do, and I think I'm very, very well qualified.
Okay,
and not
Mr.
a
Roy,
political
Mr. Roy, you're 3 minutes right there, so I'm gonna put you on hold for just a moment, and then do we have any immediate questions for Mr. Roy from the council? Okay, we don't have any at this point, so Mr. Roy, please hang on the line in case we come back to you for any questions for our council discussion. Okay, and do we have Mr. Cesar Marufo in the room this evening? Okay. All right. So we'll turn this over to council. We've heard from 3 applicants this evening that were present either on the phone or in person. And what we've done in the past is we've picked, and assigned a number to each and we're going for the lowest score when we've done this, and we've scored all the applicants in the past. And my thought this evening, especially since it's just for one position, that perhaps we just pick our top 3. Any objection to that, or any comments or questions from council? Okay, and then before we do that, do we have any questions from council to any of the applicants this evening?
Mayor, I just have a quick clarification. So Mr. Marufo did not turn in an application, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so then, Mr. Marufo, was his the email that just said, please include me?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I do have one though, Mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Martinez.
For Mr. Cueva. Hello, Mr. Cueva.
How you doing?
So we know that we have a lot of projects that deal with the county, especially when we talk about annexation of county property into the city and so forth. So I just want you to be aware that it is possible you might have to recuse yourself when it comes to either those types or anything that's county related. Would you have a problem with that?
No. And I think one of the ones that you're referring to is the purchase of the Merv Griffin property that's in Beaumont.
There could be various. I just want to make sure you're aware that anytime we do discuss for the planning, that might have to happen. Appreciate that. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, while you're there, sir, any questions for Carlos? Mr. White, did you have one for him?
No, Mayor, I would like to make a suggestion. I believe that Mr. Cueva is very well qualified for the position. And rather than go through the process of numbering, and I'd like to make a motion, see if there's a second. If there is, we can move forward.
I'm certainly open to that.
Okay, so I'd like to move that we appoint Mr. Cueva to the Planning Commission.
I'll second that. Do we have any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes. Congratulations, Carlos.
Thank you.
I look forward to working with you. And Mr. Roy, we appreciate you applying for it as well, and so it's up to you if you want to hang on to the phone, but we're done with that item, so thank you. And then for the rest of the applicants, we appreciate you being here and your willingness to apply and to request to serve with the City of Beaumont. We appreciate that. So moving on now to our Economic Development Committee, we had 3 applicants for the position. And again, there's Beaumont Community Member, Industry Expert, and then alternate 1 and alternate 2. So I called out for Cesar Marufo earlier, and I don't believe that anybody else has come in. So just one last call for Mr. Marufo if he's in the building.
I do have a caller on the line, which is one of the applicants for EDC.
Okay.
Rudy, can you tell me the name of that applicant on the line?
I don't have a name, but I can ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vicky Brannick?
Okay, Vic, okay, all right. So with Mr. Marufo not being present, we will move on to Vicky Brannick, who is on the line. So Vicky, if you can hear me, you've got a couple of minutes to share with us your comments for consideration.
Rudy's patching it through. Give him just a minute.
Okay,
You
sure.
can go ahead and send it through,
We can
Rudy.
hold for her.
Excuse me, Mayor, how many,
Caller, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, we have you on
Can
the
you hear
line.
me?
yes, I just had a quick question, Mayor. How many are being considered for the industry expert position?
So on the applications that were submitted, both Vicky Brannick and Perry Goldstein have both indicated that they were an industry expert.
And if you could just for the record summarize the others that are applying for what I'm getting at is if we have two good candidates for industry expert, but one of them can qualify for one of the other positions, I just would like to know that.
Yeah, and that was going to be one of my questions for each of the candidates is to confirm
Can we see
that.
I-
And to jump to Ms. Wheelwright, our industry expert does not need to be a Beaumont resident. That is correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so,
And but which position, can you just remind me which positions we have? We have an industry expert open.
And then we have business owner / resident.
Okay, so
it can
business
be
owner or a
and/or.
resident.
Correct.
Okay. And that's all that we have, or just those two positions open?
and then,
Business owner has to be a business located within city limits.
But a resident does not, just has to be a resident in the city,
Correct.
correct? Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
and then we still have the two alternate positions.
Correct.
Okay.
And the alternate positions they don't matter what?
No, we notate what they qualify as, so that if we do have a vacancy, we know which
Okay.
spot they can move into.
Okay.
But there's no requirement.
All right, very good. Okay, so Vicky Brannick, if you can still hear us, you've got a couple minutes to share with us.
Yes, thank you. Mayor Finn, council members, my name is Vicki Brannick. I have submitted an application for the vacancy for the Economic Development Committee as an industry expert, and I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Okay, so appreciate that, and if you don't mind me asking, so we can help clarify what we're going to do is, Vicky, are you a current Beaumont resident?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. Do we have any other questions for Vicky?
Yes, I do, Mayor.
Okay, Mr. White, go ahead, and anybody else after that? Okay, go ahead, Mr. White.
Hi, Vicky. It seems like you have a pretty complete resume here, but can you just indicate to us what your area of expertise would be as far as industry expert? Because you look like you've accomplished a lot of things. I want to know what you think is the industry that you're an expert in.
Well, thank you, Mr. White. I'm currently the executive director for Biocom California Institute. We're the workforce development arm for the life science sector, and but my expertise also includes my experience in education and with the San Diego Workforce Partnership, which I was at about 6 years ago, and I have experience in basically developing training programs, educational programs for technology, hospitality, education. We did a lot of work with homeless individuals, people who were incarcerated, coming out of prison, that sort of thing. And also, I've done a lot of work with cities and counties as well, in making sure that, especially with Biocom Institute, that making sure that there's business-friendly policies and that can really enhance the life of the citizens in the area, so that we can attract and retain good talent and then also good businesses for the area. So when I look at what we're doing, as a resident here at Beaumont, I see there's a lot of potential in this area for growth, but also we need to make sure that we're attracting the right kind of businesses, that we're making sure that we have the correctly educated and trained workforce. And so that's the expertise that I would bring.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vicky. Any other questions for Vicky? Okay, so Vicki, if we can, just have you stay on the line with us for a few minutes as we go through this. We appreciate your application. Do we have Perry Goldstein in the audience? Perry, come on up. And Perry, you've got a couple minutes to share with us.
Thank you. You got me confused. I wrote a 3-minute speech and you said 2 minutes.
all right.
So I'm going to cut this down. But I am a resident of Beaumont, 5 years. I moved from Orange County. I'm an experienced brand manager. I spent almost 50 years in the technology industry building brands for companies like Panasonic Consumer Electronics. For Panasonic, I managed our third-party partnerships like the United States Olympic Committee, the Dodgers, Universal Studios, and Walt Disney Company. My specialties are communications, public relations, both digital and traditional. I was on the original team that launched our first Amazon project, and that was when we were going through the transition from traditional marketing to digital marketing, so I'm an expert in both. I was one of the few people at Panasonic that was authorized to speak to the press. I also have my electronics industry credentials, so I'm qualified to manage and build out pretty complex audio-video projects. But my big qualification is after all the creative programs I put together for Panasonic, my friends call me the big idea guy. And I do have a lot of big ideas for Beaumont. I think it's I think we're underutilizing a lot of our properties. So I have some very specific ideas that can achieve the goal of Beaumont being a destination city, which does not include warehouses and big box Me Too stores. I think they would have to be unique projects like the Anaheim Packing Company. Unfortunately, I don't have time to share those ideas. There's just way too much, and I spend too much time talking about myself. So, but I would say let's be a destination for people, not packages.
All right, thank you,
Questions?
Perry. So hold tight there. Do we have any questions for Perry this evening from the council?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr. Martinez.
Yeah, so if you can just do like a minute or two and pick maybe one or two of those projects you just want to throw out there.
There you go.
Well, one of my, is kind of a selfish personal thing. My wife is Japanese, and the closest Asian market is in Corona and Rancho Cucamonga. I'd love to bring a Ranch 99 market or a Mitsuwa here. Considering where the closest one is, we could draw from Redlands all the way down to Palm Springs. And instead of, and I would also open up a international food market similar to the Anaheim Packing Company or the Riverside food market there, right on the 10 freeway. That area on the north side is underutilized. It's got freeway entrances, and it's the only, and it's right on the way to Cabazon, right on the way to the casino. We could draw a lot of tourists from there. The whole idea is we can't build businesses that only draw from Beaumont. We have to become a destination, which means we need unique businesses. Instead of the warehouses, I would build an entertainment complex, maybe get a minor league baseball team, and have things like the World Championship line dance contests. So again, big idea, draw lots of people from outside of the area and bring in their money, because there is nothing sweeter than other people's money. And with that, I say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Perry. Any other questions?
I do.
Come on back up.
I'm just assuming you're a resident of Beaumont when you.
Yes, 5 years. I live in Four Seasons.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so let's go to council for discussion. Any comments or suggestions on how we'd like to do this? We've got two candidates who are present. I think Vicki would be a great fit for our industry expert, and Perry has a lot to offer as well, and so we can have him as our community member. I'd propose and make that a motion.
Before, I'd like to ask a question of Nicole. So the terms on the Economic Development Committee are 2 years, correct?
Correct.
And are both of these full terms, or is one a half term and one's a full term?
You know, the one thing I didn't have handy,
Oh, he'll find it. He always does.
I believe they are, well, we just had vacancies last year and we could not fill them. So this is almost a full 2 year. minus
Which one's the full G?
performance. Both
Okay.
seats.
Thank you.
Okay, so my motion still stands as Vicki Brannick, our industry expert, and Perry Goldstein as our Beaumont community member.
Would you like to include Mr. Marufo as an alternate at one of the two seats, or not at this time?
I would like to have a separate discussion on the
Okay.
alternates.
Then I'll second your motion.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, congratulations to you too. And Vicki, if you can hear me, there's no need to stay on the line, but welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to working with you all.
All right, thank you. Okay, so my question for our alternate position, I am fully aware that Mr. Marufo is active in our Chamber of Commerce and is serving as vice president, and that's a voluntary position, so I don't think there's any conflict with him serving in the alternate capacity. I'd certainly like to have seen him here to be able to answer the question for us, but I would be okay in supporting that pending his decision and feedback, and so I just want to get the council's opinion on that too.
Mayor, I do have a question then. Does the chamber have a seat on the EDC?
Yes.
Okay, so it would effectively have two, well, he's an alternate, so it wouldn't be a voting member then, so. And alternates can discuss, they just can't vote. Is that correct? Because anybody can
Correct.
comment since it's open. Okay, thank you.
Mr. White?
So is the chamber member on the Economic Development Committee filling the role as the chamber representative?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm good with that. I know you have a second, right?
I hadn't made the motion, we're just asking, I just made a comment and asked questions. Ms. Voigt, did you have a question on the matter, or?
No, but I can move to
Okay.
suggest that Mr. Marufo be extended the offer as an alternate member.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Voigt? Oh, excuse me.
Oh, I'm already getting a promotion.
It's a bad day for
Well, I don't know if it's a
Sorry.
promotion. Maybe it's not a
I'm
promotion.
jumping you up there. Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes, thank you. And so, Nicole, we would certainly ask that if there's any other vacancies, to bring that back. And if we find out that lack of alternate number 2 is an issue, we would certainly want to bring that back and potentially fill that position. So, but we'll let it go for now and see how it works out.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. And so we are on to item J2, discussion and direction on the sponsorship of the 2024 Cherry Festival, and our staff report by City Manager Elizabeth Gibbs.
Thank you, Mayor. So the 2024 Cherry Festival is scheduled to be held May 30th through June 2nd, and the new venue that's being proposed is Noble Creek Park. That was, there were many conversations on that transition, and the primary reason for that is because Stewart Park is out to bid right now for construction, and we anticipate that the timeline will overlap between the 2024 Cherry Festival and the start of construction for Stewart Park. Likewise, the construction in Stewart Park will likely extend past the June 2025 Cherry Festival, because we are in the process of getting applying for some grant funding, and if that comes in, then we'll be able to do the second phase of it. So we sat down, the Cherry Festival and I, and the general manager of the Park District. They're here in the audience tonight, and we talked about that transition period. Previously, council had requested that the Cherry Festival perform an audit, and that was done last year and then again this year. The audit is in your packet tonight. Based on the audit that was presented to the City of Beaumont and the numerous requests for financial funding from both the Park District and the Cherry Festival, I evaluated all of the requests and the audit, and my recommendation tonight is to fund the Cherry Festival by way of a reimbursable agreement with the Park District to implement required ADA improvements at the park. And that way the Cherry Festival benefits from it, as does the Park District. There is a line item in the budget for $100,000, and that is my recommendation, so that the community can benefit from those improvements that are required by fire and building, and the Cherry Festival can ensure that the patrons that are coming to the festival have a safe environment. And so that is my staff report.
All right, thank you. Nicole, do we have any public comments?
I have no written requests. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
Okay, thank you. Council discussion, Mr. Martinez.
Not quite yet.
Okay, Mr. White.
I like your suggestion. I would like to, whoever makes the motion, whether it's me or someone else, also suggest that whatever is not spent from the 100,000 goes to the Potrero interchange. So I think the numbers that we're looking at from the Parks District was not 100,000 for all the ADA improvements. Do you have a number on that, an idea? And I understand we want to be a little flexible, but I'm just trying to get an idea of what we think it is at that point. I don't know, maybe Mr. Valdivia could come up and speak to that?
I love-hate relationships with podiums. Continues. Thank you. Mickey Valdivia, General Manager of the Park District in Beaumont. Honorable Mayor, members of the council, always a pleasure to be in these chambers. Let me digress before I answer that question. As you guys know, I have a history here in our city, and this isn't a $100,000 allocation. This really started in about 2006. You guys paid for our sewers. When I first started there as a general manager, it was a dirt road, sports lighting, RV park. You guys have been instrumental. Really, this isn't a one-time stimulus. This has been going on for a couple of decades now. So I just want to make sure that we're aware of that, right? And we really want to say thank you. You guys have really helped to change the quality of life for our constituents, not just in Beaumont, Cherry Valley, really the region. We're a regional park. So wanted to first say thank you for that, and thank you for continuing to consider this. As far as the motion goes, the 50,000 was an initial thought of mine. I'll be very honest with you. I was thinking that that would perhaps be in addition to the 100,000 that you were going to give to them. I wish you would consider that. I'm just going to be honest. However, if it is going to be 100,000 that's going to go to us, we have an agreement. We have an excellent relationship with the Cherry Festival Association. Myself and Dan Roush meet very often. We've committed a time frame weekly with the Cherry Festival Association. So the partnership is working well. But the $100,000, we're going to go through that easily and then some. We also got $25,000 from the County of Riverside. We're going to get a line of credit, and I have some exhibits if you want to see them, and I can show you very specifically what those monies are going to be spent. There will be no money left for that $100,000. There will be more than that. I'll be more than happy to outline that if you'll indulge. It's up to you. Primarily, I can just tell you though, with the requirements from fire, there are now new safety gates that we have to impose. There are 24-foot gates, ingress and egress on about 4 different ball fields. That alone has been $30,000. We recently found out that we also have to have pedestrian ingress and egress where those 24-foot lanes don't count. So that's probably going to double that. So we're probably looking at $60,000. Chris Dirks, who's here in the audience with us, and Tan Hughes. Chris has been the ADA lead supervisor for the city of Whittier for over 30 years. He knows his ADA stuff and doesn't let anything slide for us. So we also have additional parking stalls. We figure that we can park about 850 cars on site. And per the California code, there are 2% of that 850 has to be strictly dedicated to ADA parking. We currently have 9 stalls, concrete stalls. They don't exceed the 2%. So part of that $50,000 request was for that striping as well. So it's ADA striping, It is ingress and egress for fire lanes, and there might be a switchback as well. We've purchased software, we purchased trees, because we really are firm believers in that. We have one chance for people to come and say, wow, was this a good move? So we're spending a lot of money on this, a lot of our own foundation money, a lot of our Park District money. The Cherry Festival Association is going to be into that, but I can assure you there will be no money left if it comes to $100,000. I'm not shy at all. You should give us more, to be honest with you, right? However, I understand that this was earmarked. I have exhibits. I can talk for a long time. I'd shut me up if I were you and just move forward with what you need to do. But I am honored, honestly, to be here in concert with my friends at the Cherry Festival Association. It's been a beautiful relationship. It's been quick. We had to get married really quick. Went to third base right away on our first date because of the timeline.
I would shut you up at this point. But
Okay, thank you. I was trying to give you cues. I was trying to give you cues.
I'm not the mayor, and maybe the new mayor pro tem could do that, but
Sure.
I can't do that tonight.
Okay.
So, but I appreciate what you've said.
Sure.
And I am comfortable with making the contribution to the parks this year instead of the Cherry Festival.
Okay.
Because, as you know, it's always been my hope that the Cherry Festival would come to Noble Creek. And I also would like to see the fireworks also move to, the 4th of July move to Noble Creek. And I think putting this investment into hopefully a long-term arrangement between the Cherry Festival and the Parks District, I think it's in all of our best interest to help you get the ADA up, get the gates up there so that we can have more events like this, because the new Stewart Park is going to be a little less, a little more informal. It's probably not the right word, but it's going to be designed in a way that is not really for the big events.
Sure.
And so we would like to partner. I would like to partner with you guys going forward on some of the big events.
Sure.
But we are scraping up every penny, every dime we can to get Potrero completed. So that's why it would, I would approve or be in favor of the 100,000. But at this point, that would be all that I would be okay contributing to the 2024 Cherry Festival.
Okay. Perhaps it'd be apropos to hear from Mr. Dan Roush so that you see that he and I are on the same page and we're partners. I don't know if he's here.
Yeah, certainly, that'd be okay. And then we'll go on to any other council questions. So come on up, sir.
Well, I want to thank you for the $100,000 potential. We have worked diligently together, partnering, trying to unravel this event and restart this as a new event going forward. It's been very challenging over the last year. So whatever help we can get with the city, we much appreciate it. And Mickey and his team have been nothing but supportive and everything so far. So I look forward to working with Mickey over the years with having an event going forward there for the foreseeable future.
All right,
Okay?
thank you. Thank you, Dan. Any other questions of council or comments? Mr. Martinez, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm in agreement as well with the 100,000 cap. You remember I'm the guy that voted no on streetlights. So I'm getting a little bit when it comes to Potrero, making sure that we have everything covered. So to go over that would be supported by myself as well. I do like the idea, since we are changing the venue, and I appreciate all that you've worked between you and the Cherry Festival. It's what's been the vision, and I think it's the perfect marriage, and I think this is exactly what the region needs and the city needs and all the surrounding areas. So I would be supportive of doing 100,000 for the Parks Department, Parks District. And then if there is anything, you guys can discuss that. That's you guys seem to have a pretty good agreement going on. But I think that would be the best recourse at this point, because we're making this a destination.
Sure.
And this destination is what we've envisioned, and it's what your vision is. And I think that this is that first step going forward to making it happen. And I think this is the perfect time to do that. So I would support the idea of having, you know, I don't know if you want to keep it this way and have a reimbursable agreement or put I don't know, we can talk about that in a second as far as the details on that. But, you know, if there were something left over, that would be great. But again, that's not for us to decide. You guys have your agreements and you guys know how things are working. From the city's point of view, I think though, looking at the best for everyone, I think this is a good opportunity to get the parks up, and it's going to help you and others as well, not just this. And I think it's a great idea. So I do support that.
Okay. Mickey, you can probably have a seat.
May I add one more piece?
Yeah, real quick, go ahead.
Okay. The other thing I was going to say is a goodwill gesture. After the staff report came out, that we also are committing to having a special meeting either this week or next week. We want to elongate the agreement because we only have a one-year agreement. And I think to provide us all more comfort as well to say, hey, this is going to be a long-term relationship. That is going to happen either the latter part of this week or early next week.
All right, good to know. Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem.
I just appreciate the relationship that we have with the Parks District. And if nobody else has any comments,
I do have a quick question, so I'll put you on hold on that. For staff, have we officially requested audits each year going forward? I know we requested it for this year. Has the council, is that the council's desire to have another copy of the audit, or was it just the intent was just to have a one-time snapshot?
No, my intention when I brought it up was that anytime there's this significant amount of money coming from general fund at the first it was a private organization, but now it's a district and a private organization. I think we still have the accountability for the public. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting a blank check and saying 100 unless I've seen,
And his staff communicated that going forward, or not yet?
Not yet, because it hasn't been my direction.
Okay. And so I would like to propose that we make that a regular habit, and then at any time that a request comes our way, that a budget, copy of their audit is provided. Do we have that as a general consensus of the council?
I think Mr. Roush wanted to say something about the.
Well, and I appreciate that. One of the things I was going to ask is going forward, if this is going to be something it's this year, it's going over to Park District, and going forward, it's still going to the Cherry Festival. Because one of the things the audit does, it tells you what we have available, but we have to take in consideration we're having to buy this event out prior to anything, prior to the event starting. So all that available funds, and I know the audits for balancing as well, and we're doing that. We're doing everything you guys are asking. But those funds are already drained before we get to the event starting. So if we have to budget based on these type of sponsorships, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, understood. Okay.
So that was all I was going to ask.
All right, thank you.
So just to let the president know, we do have a budget hearing on April 30th. It'll be our first workshop. There is a line item in that budget proposal to council for $100,000 to the Cherry Festival.
For 2025, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So back to then my comment, do we want as a council to, anytime that request has come through, that we have that audit?
Absolutely.
As we did this year?
That's
Okay,
mine.
So I have head nods over here. Okay, all right, so that'd be our direction to staff. And then I'd be ready for a motion at this point.
Could I make another comment?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to respond to Mr. Roush. We will consider the next year's at our budget. And we are trying to show you that we do want the long-term commitment, but I don't want you to feel like we have made any decisions for years in the future. But I think we've always had a plan, and at least since this council's been together, to continue to support the biggest event we have in our city. So I just want to let you know that. And I understand your budgeting issues. We do that as well.
Right. Well, and one of the reasons why I even brought this up is because this, granted, I understand that none of it's guaranteed and it has to be, you guys have to approve it. But at the same token, we were under, from past history, thinking that that was still going to be available. And when we switched it to Park District, that kind of threw everything off. And so I don't want to assume we're going to get it, and we're not trying to. But there's been a lot of changes, a lot of costs that have taken place this year with being removed from Stewart Park and going over to Noble Creek, that the Cherry Festival as well as Park District has to absorb.
No, and I understand. I think we all understand. I'm just speaking for myself at this point.
Right.
And I think you can rely on our history of where we want to go and what we want to do. But there are some times, like this year, where we've got $33 million that we have to start building that bridge, or we lose $33 million.
Understood.
So next year, this issue hopefully will be in the past next year.
Understood.
But I think the bigger question that Mr. Martinez was bringing up was that we would like the audits to continue.
I have no problem with providing the audits. I just don't want them to be used against us.
Understood.
Because this is a community function, and we're doing everything in our power to make sure everything's right to the T and what you're asking.
Yeah, I think we use them to help us support our
I agree.
Our support for you, so we can support
Absolutely.
the community and say, yes, we're supporting you, and here's how we're doing it.
Okay.
So,
and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
and I hope it's a huge success this year.
So am I. This one's
think
going to be
it
a fun one.
I think it will be. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm just ready to make the motion, if we're ready to hear it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the sponsorship of the 2024 Beaumont Cherry Festival event in the amount of $100,000 through a reimbursable agreement between City of Beaumont and Cherry Valley Recreation and Park District to reimburse the district for construction project costs associated with the 2024 Cherry Festival in a not-to-exceed amount of $100,000.
I'll second.
And deny all other requests for sponsorship, reimbursement, and fee waivers.
Okay, second still stands.
Still stands.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyd?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes. Thank you. And so we're on to item J3, Sundance South Homeowners Association Special Event Fee Waiver Request, and a staff report by Christina Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, council, before you for consideration is a fee waiver request from the Sundance South Homeowners Association for a special event application plan 2024-0032. On March 27th, staff received the special event application for the Sundance Summer Event, which is to be held on May 25th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Mountain View Park. On March 29th, following the original application, staff received a fee waiver request for the event from the Sundance South HOA, and that fee waiver request letter is included as an attachment to this staff report. Back in November 2023, City Council adopted a special event permit application fee waiver policy, which helps to guide staff and council in making decisions on fee waiver requests that are received. Eligible applicants include intergovernmental agencies, nonprofit organizations, and other entities whose events would positively meet the consideration criteria included in the policy. There is evaluation criteria which is established, as well as ineligible events which should not be considered for the fee waiver. So the letter that was submitted by the Sundance South HOA cites compliance with the fee waiver policy and that the HOA is a nonprofit organization, and the event is providing a benefit to residents of Beaumont who reside in that Sundance South neighborhood. But upon review of the special event application, staff identified that the event is not open to the general public, and therefore it is not in compliance with the city's fee waiver policy, which was adopted. Additionally, back in December, Sundance South HOA held a winter event at Mountain View Park. After this event, there was substantial wear observed at the park, along with debris which had been left as part of that event, and there are pictures included in your staff report for your reference. Community services staff did have to perform some maintenance at the park and did have to expend time and resources hauling off remaining bales of hay and other debris which was left in the area. Staff does understand the impact that the deposit requirement can have on a nonprofit's budget, but due to the nature of the event and the potential impact to the city's facilities, staff does believe it's prudent to require a deposit for this event. As it is a deposit, any funds that are not used for this project review or site remediation, if that's necessary, would be returned to the HOA. With that, staff is recommending that City Council deny the Sundance South HOA fee waiver request. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, thank you. And do we have any public comments?
I have no written requests. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
All right, thank you. Council discussion. Mr. White?
I was looking at the attachment F. So this was last year, and did we expect that we would be, or did we? Who were we expecting to clean up the hay bales?
It would have been the event, the people put the event on. So the HOA or whoever they utilized to put the event on.
Okay, and that's is that snow that was brought in?
It was snow, right?
And any idea on what it cost us to clean that up?
I would have to defer to Community Services Director.
I'm sorry, thank you. So we ended up sending over a full work crew to go over there along with 2 dump trailers and our skid steer backhoe to pick up all the hay bales and the snow that was in there. And then we had to take the 2 dump trailers out to the dump to dump the material. So it was just under $800 in staff time between all the staff that were there, and then also the dump fees and then the usage of our equipment.
And the fee waiver is how much?
So the deposit request for a large special event application is about $5,000. So that's what they're requesting be waived. Council does have the opportunity to require or to allow a partial deposit or something along those lines if you didn't want to deny the fee waiver in whole.
And did we have a communication with the HOA after the event?
Yes,
and
we did.
How was that received?
We had communication with them prior, letting them know what the expectation was, knowing that we had dealt with the hay bales in previous years. They stay there for a very long time. And,
same event?
Mm-hmm, same event,
okay.
Correct. And so we were anticipating that, and reminding them of what their responsibility was. After the event, which took place, we actually almost waited 7 days for them to come and remove the stuff, and then finally right before the 7th day, we came out there and removed it before the next weekend. So we did communicate with them, and I do think they understand where they went wrong, and I think they had a thought that someone else's responsibility was supposed to pick up the stuff, but it's been clearly identified to them through emails and phone calls and text messages.
And do you think that their plan this year would be, how would they clean that up? Would they try and want to contract with the city to clean it up? Is that?
We did speak to them after the event. The nature of that amenity that they offer for that, it's a snow hill, so you can't remove it the day of because there's still snow packed on it, and it took the snow a very, very long time to melt and get to a point, but then it became problematic when the kids in the neighborhood found all the snow and started throwing it at things and whatnot. And so it was a problem. And so we were pushing them, reminding them earlier in the week, hey, it looks like it's movable. It looks like it's movable. It needs to get moved. It needs to get moved. It needs to get moved. And then it didn't. So then we took care of it. We've talked to them about perhaps not doing that and offering other things, maybe an inflatable slide or something that doesn't stay there as long. And that's the hard part of it. And so we've had that conversation, but it is in their current site plan to do a snow hill.
So understanding all of that, I'm not in favor of waiving the fee. I don't know that we need to do it at $5,000, but we definitely need to do it at whatever it would cost us to clean this up. But I still would prefer that they make the effort to clean it up, and then we give them back whatever deposits left. But yeah, I don't know that I'll leave it out to the rest of the colleagues, but I'm not interested in waiving it. And if we can come to something lower than 5,000 and everyone's comfortable with that, then I support that.
And I don't believe they have a snow hill for their summer event. I think that would be just probably in their winter event next time.
Okay.
But
I just think the history.
But there is history, yes, correct, sir.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. White. Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, and I've mentioned in the past that I'm not supportive of using city funds when it's closed to certain parts of the public. So that alone did it for me. So that's my comment.
All right, Ms. White?
Yeah, I would support a reduction in the fee. I don't, of the deposit. I don't feel that waiving it at this time is in the best interest of the city, specifically because it is a closed event, as mentioned before. I would propose reducing the deposit to $2,500, and then whatever they do not utilize could receive back. And I would like to see a good faith effort on their behalf as well, specifically with the amount of work and reaching out. And I really think that that's an important part of this as well.
Mayor Pro Tem.
So you indicated that you had even reached out to them to remove the, what I'll call an attractive nuisance? The snow?
Yeah.
And they still didn't bother to?
They kept waiting, and then we started getting calls from other residents about other stuff that was happening in the park, so we had to take it upon ourselves and couldn't wait any longer.
This is not the first year that they've had us clean their
The,
did they even offer
the
to pay
winter
for it?
event, the winter event this has been an ongoing conversation with us in the HOA because that snow hill was in the grass previously, and then the other issue is it ruins the grass and it does some other things. So then we moved it to the parking lot, but then it didn't get cleaned up and all those issues. So
Did we respond in writing, letting them know that they did not meet the criteria for the to meet the waiver requirements, fee waiver requirements?
Yes, so I reached out to, when they first submitted the application and inquired about the fee waiver, I reached out to them and provided the policy information and asked them questions about the event for further clarification. I did not receive a response back from the HOA, so then proceeded to use the information that had been provided to staff in the form of the application and the event information to determine where they met the criteria that qualified and where they didn't.
Okay, but do we notify them via email saying that the application does not meet the fee waiver policy or anything like that?
No, because it does meet it in parts, and then it doesn't meet it in the sense that it's not open to the public, so we brought it forward.
Okay. I'm okay with the $5,000 deposit at this point, only because we've had this issue in the past, and I would like to get a better bearing of what our actual cost is, because we have staff time involved not only in the cleanup, but also in processing the application. So maybe this year, I don't know if we can go back and look at the last winter event and see what our time is on that, and maybe start to develop an average of what we think it'll be, and then in the future, maybe reduce it. That would be my suggestion. But besides the snow and the hay in the parking lot, there was any other damage that we had to repair or replace?
no, there was no other damage to the park.
Thank you, that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, and then my question was going to be that with that extra damage, because you mentioned the kids getting hold of it, but
Yeah, that was.
is that just making the mess a little larger is all?
Yeah. and
Okay.
Snow and hay were expanding throughout the park.
Okay. Ms. Voigt, did you have any other comments?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of make a comment in regards to Mayor Pro Tem's comments about keeping it at the 5,000. I think my concern is that this is a large community where we have a lot of kids and we have a lot of family activity. And, I myself live in an HOA, and my concern is that potentially that cost will be transferred to our families if they continue to kind of have to, and I recognize it's a deposit and I kind of understand that. But I would suggest that we reduce it potentially, but not totally eradicate that. So, or not consider, I would consider not keeping it at the 5,000 mark, if that's the deterrent, which it appears to be.
Do we have an estimate? I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead. I was going to say, because she
Do we have like
rebuttal
maybe
yours.
a ballpark on what we anticipate that we think the deposit would be, or there's just no way to know what we've spent staff-wise and?
So for this one, I can tell you we have not spent much time, if any at all, other than my time preparing this, because we want to have a determination before staff spends time working on an application. So we don't, work without having money on deposit.
Understood.
I would think for something like this, for the summer one, it is a little bit less intensive than the winter one. I would think a 50% should be more than enough to cover staff time. And if community services, I don't anticipate, based on the narrative that's been provided, that there would be much in the way of remainder at the scale there was for the winter event.
Okay. All right, then if you're comfortable with that, then I would be okay with a reduction in half. And then I would really like to monitor it though, to see and track our fees.
So do we, just to rephrase, we have 25 and 5? Is that what we said, or 25 on both? 25
Should we
and
do
25?
Before
25
that,
and 25.
did you have anything else, or you just clarifying?
Well, I was clarifying, and then I was just reminding the council that it is a deposit. They do get back what, so, and HOAs do collect from the owners, so, I usually don't have a problem on a deposit, because I know if they're diligent in doing their job, they're gonna get that back. So it's just asking them to put up front, and it is a little high, but, it is an HOA, so, it's not like it's a Boy Scouts or somebody that's a nonprofit, so I hold them to a little different standard than that. But I'm okay with the 25-25 if that's what council desires.
Mr. White?
A little clarification. Mr. Martinez, what were you talking about, 25 and 25? For, what do you mean?
Your microphone.
It would just be 125.
I thought it was just one,
Right.
For the winter
where's the
event,
two?
Well, that's what I meant. I meant
Okay,
it's
but
not
we're just,
it's
they're
not
just asking
225s.
us for the summer tonight, right?
Correct,
So
yeah.
we'll,
Correct.
we'll see what happens for the winter.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Oh, that's a good point.
So I think we're ready for motion. Ms. Voigt, did you want to make that?
Sure, I can make the motion. I'll move to go ahead and move forward with a $2,500 deposit for this event. The summer event, I guess, for Sundance South.
All right, I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes. Thank you. On to item J4, adopt a list of projects funded by SB1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act of fiscal year 24-25, CIP R25-01, and staff report by Mr. Robert Vestal.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. Every year since 2019, the city has developed an annual street rehabilitation and maintenance project as part of the capital improvement program. The project is funded with Measure A, SB1, this year gas tax, and some street maintenance portion of CFDs. For fiscal year 25, the project is estimated to receive approximately $4.2 million. The project is proposing to rehabilitate approximately 12 miles throughout Fairway Canyon, an area near Tournament Hills, and two specific streets, which are Golf Club Drive, and a portion of 6th Street from Pennsylvania Avenue all the way to the 10 on-ramp at the terminus of 6th Street. I'm going through the slides. They're not synced with my presentation. I just want you to see the graphics.
Oh, yeah.
For reference, since 2019, the city has rehabilitated approximately 100 miles of roads. For context, the city has approximately 150 miles of publicly maintained road, about 210 miles of all-inclusive road, privately maintained, the freeways and the highway. So this project is anticipated to begin construction in May of 2025, which would be next year. SB1 funding requirements require the city to adopt this list of projects. Staff is recommending that City Council waive the full reading and adopt by title only a resolution of the City Council, of the City of Beaumont to adopt a list of projects for fiscal year 24-25 funded by SB1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017. This concludes my presentation, and I am available for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any public comments?
I have no written requests. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
All right, thank you. Council discussion, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, what's the acronym ARAM stand for?
Sure, it's asphaltic rubberized
Oh, we've used a lot of that.
It's
That must be a high-tech material.
rubberized asphaltic membrane. I forgot what the A in the front stands for, but it's essentially a rubberized layer on the road, and then
Okay.
they put gravel on top, and then they'll put slurry seal on top, and that bridges a considerable amount of cracks. It's kind of used where roads are in between a mill and overlay and a slurry.
Okay, so you wouldn't do an ARAM and a slurry, you'd just do one or the other, or you do both on this particular application?
You would do both, so that the ARAM has a slurry component to it. If you didn't put a slurry on it, you would just have a very granular road. It'd be rocks.
Okay.
Like chip seal is what you'd be left
Okay.
with.
And that helps protect, though, the cracks, right? Keeps water out of the cracks, the rubberized AM?
Yeah, I apologize. I have it in my staff report if we do need it. It does, it provides a rubberized barrier between, over the cracks.
Yeah.
Far superior to crack seal alone.
Oh, okay, perfect. I know that we were working on Fifth Street with the last thing we were being held up. Have we completed that portion of Fifth Street yet?
No, we haven't.
We're still waiting on?
In May of this year, the city will be advertising last year's similar street project to go to construction. That area is gonna focus on the area around Rangel Park, 4th Street. And as part of that, we're gonna include the work that wasn't performed by the last contractor, which is 5th Street, some of the north-south roads along 5th Street, and also the alley by Napa.
Okay. Will we include centerline striping in this particular bid, or is that gonna be a separate item? Because I know that we had that issue on some of the roads last time.
We did have that issue. The issue that we encountered is when we bid the project, we said, replace the striping with in like kind. And some of the areas prior to the construction had centerline striping, and then some areas didn't. So it was pretty evident that in this next project, including in response to your question, yes, that we should upgrade all striping, not in residential area, to have centerline striping. There are roads, like in Sundance, that you don't want centerline striping. You want it to be
Oh, okay.
a little freer.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. White.
Yeah, I have a number of questions. The Measure A funding for this year, that is now not our full Measure A. That's after our contribution, our settlement payment to WRCOG, correct?
That is correct. We are anticipated to receive $918,000, which represents 40% of what we would receive.
gotten, okay.
60% goes directly to WRCOG.
Okay. And just because it's been asked specifically of me regarding the golf club drive, I do appreciate that I agree with you. It's pretty bad. It definitely needs that extra level of work. But your legend here, is that from least amount of work to most amount of work?
It is.
Okay, so a mill is more intense than a full depth then?
Correct.
Okay.
No, I apologize. The full depth would be the most invasive, most amount of work.
That's what, okay. Just by the name, I thought that there was, I was not sure about that. Do you have any idea on that segment? Because I would like to be able to quote that if it comes up to me again, of what the golf club drive portion is going to be for that. I know you don't. I don't think you have it broken out by specific segments, but I thought you might just give me top of the head, and nothing I'm going to hold you to, but just an understanding. Yeah.
It would probably be $50,000.
Okay.
I can give you an exact number in minutes if we have time.
In the coming days or weeks, that's fine. I'd just like to get a number on that. Time of year, when will this start and end? As far as when they start doing the work on these roads?
Sure. We try to target the right after spring.
Okay.
When we can. So that would be May, June, July, preferably in the hottest months of the year.
Okay, and 6th Street is going to be quite a project. It's definitely in need. I'm just curious how that will impact our Thursday night's market night. Is that something that project could start after the summer? Or is it best to do these in the summer?
Sure, that's a great point. We did experience on this last project that the cooler temperatures are not a favor of street projects. So you want them in the hottest months possible where the asphalt can flow. With that being said, I think that we can accommodate a construction schedule that works with, as best to our ability, with the market night work.
Okay, and obviously you're going to do it in segments, so you would never, really shut the whole thing down. And then I have one more question. It came up in some of our earlier conversations about other projects. This is all from the study. When was the last study we did to figure out which roads we needed to do?
Sure. So that study was done in 2017.
Okay.
And we are currently about halfway through an updated study.
Okay, great. Okay. I think that's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So after we discontinued our last contractor, Ms. Gibbs and yourself, we talked about improving our monitoring policy. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Have we have a new plan going forward and trying to prevent issues that happened in the past from happening?
Sure. So we're still subject to the lowest responsive bidder.
Right.
However, I think staff can fully vet whomever is the lowest responsive bidder and pay attention to any type of signals that indicate they are not the best fit for the city. So I think that's where our primary focus is going to be. And then also enhancing our inspectors' ability to monitor, equipping them with the right tools and training, which we have in the past. I mean, that's not, they're obviously trained, but just making sure that they are so qualified that they're able to see indicators, that things are not going well, or just be able to quality control check things in the field to the best of their ability.
All right, and you plan to do that periodically at whatever point you deem would be the best time to go out and check? Because the whole idea is to prevent it from getting too far, and we discussed that, and we know how to fix that now, but I just want to, and I know having the right contractor was probably number one, but I just want to make sure that you have, so we had talked about the policy and maybe having those inspectors, and of course the cost adds when you have someone full-time, and that's not really feasible at this moment, but I'm reassured that you have that controlled and you've got that under control. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's all.
Mr. Professor, I've got a question. So for me still being relatively new on the 60% of the funds going to WRCOG, is there an end date for that? So in the future that we have a larger percentage going directly to the projects where, the road that we're working on, or is that in perpetuity? I don't fully understand that part of it.
Sure, I'd have to look at the settlement agreement, but I believe it's either when we meet a cap.
It's 9.4 million.
Yeah, we owe them $9.4 million.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this will be about just a little bit over $1 million this is the first year that we're not getting our full Measure A, correct?
Second year.
Second year.
Yeah.
So we're probably paid $2 million at this point.
And I'll have our finance director, as part of the April 30th budget, go through that with you. so you
Okay.
know roughly.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm rounding off
So
the
expect that
last
to be
2
around for a
years.
little while then, based on the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 more years.
Okay, thank you.
Give her a title and see how she is.
Drives me nuts. Give her your title.
All right, I don't see any other lights on. Do you have a motion?
Sure, Mayor, I'll make a motion to waive the full reading and adopt by title only a resolution of the City Council of the City of Beaumont to adopt a list of projects for fiscal year 2024 through 2025 funded by SB 1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017, and make sure we get more AM.
I'll second.
All right.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes, thank you. So on to item J5, authorize the third amendment to the city manager employment agreement.
Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself.
All right, thank you. And we'll have a staff report by Carrie Mendoza. What am I saying? I'd say it's getting late, but based on how we've been doing, it's not that late yet.
It's only 8:18. Feels later. Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you the third amendment to the city manager's employment contract as negotiated between her subcommittee and reviewed and approved by the city attorney's office. It mirrors last year's amendment on her annual anniversary as well. Be happy to answer any questions specifically about it if you have any.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comments?
I have no written requests. Rudy, do we have any callers on the line?
I have no callers on the line.
All right, thank you. And the council discussion, and I'll start off by proposing that with the contract itself, that we extend the date to July 18, 2028, that it'd be a three-year extension. And so do we have any comments or questions on that?
I would agree with that.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that, we get it right here, that we authorize the mayor to sign the third agreement to the city manager's employment contract with that date contract revision. Can you get a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Before I vote, I'm sorry, I meant to jump in with a comment, but I didn't. I just wanted to say that I think we all, and I think the idea of extending that date a few years, that we all are very happy with the work she's done, and we are very appreciative of that. So I meant to say that beforehand, so I will vote yes on that.
Thank you, sir.
Where was I?
Councilmember.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes, thank you.
So before that contract's executed, Carrie will amend it just to include that change to section 1.1, and then it'll be executed.
All right, thank you for the clarification.
Yes, 1.1.
Okay, I'm going to invite Elizabeth back in. And then we're on to item J6, approval of city attorney invoices for the month of March 2024.
And because this involves my law firm, I'm going to recuse myself.
All right, thank you. And Carrie, do we have any public comments? I'm just Carrie. Oh my goodness. I'm looking right at her too.
I have
Nicole.
no written requests. Rudy,
All right.
do we have any callers
Thank
on
you,
the
Nicole.
line?
I have no callers on the line.
All right, thank you. Do we have any comments or questions from council or a motion? All right, Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I'll just go ahead and make a motion to approve the invoice for the amount of $137,301.64.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Voigt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Laura?
Yes.
Mayor Finn?
Yes, thank you. So on to item K, legislative updates and discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. We are currently watching a number of bills. We have a hearing tomorrow in committee on SB 1494, which I'll be able to report back to you after at the next meeting. We have a number of other bills that have been analyzed by the state's lobbying firm, RPPG. Those have been reviewed by staff and also been sent out to various departments who may be affected by those. We anticipate having representative from RPPG at a June meeting to provide an update and overview on what happened in the legislative session. I'm happy to answer any questions or take any interest on bills that might still be lingering.
Any questions from council? Mr. Martinez?
No, I'm good, sorry.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then on to economic development update.
We did not have a meeting this month. Our next meeting will be on May 8th.
All right, thank you. And city treasurer's report. We have the item in the treasurer's report in the agenda for tonight. Then on to item N, city clerk report. Okay, city attorney's report.
I gave my report at the last meeting on April 2nd, so I won't report again until next month, May.
All right, thanks,
I
sir.
have nothing to add to my last report.
Okay. And city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things to report on. First, I would like to say happy birthday to K9 Murph. He turned 4 yesterday. And I just want to give council and the public a few stats. So together with his handler, Officer Chris Cruz, Murph was deployed 91 times in 2023, leading to 21 surrenders and the seizure of $550,000 in currency, plus over 230 pounds of various illicit drugs. These stats showcase Murph's high drive to serve the needs of public and patrol while earning his favorite, guess, pepperonis. Pepperonis. So for those of you that were at the chamber breakfast on Friday, Murph was the guest speaker and he did a great job. So the next thing I want to announce is we have 2 special weeks this week. One is National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, which is actually Dispatch Appreciation Week. It's dedicated to our public safety dispatchers, part-time, full-time leads, and support services supervisor. As you know, the dispatcher's position is often the vital first step, connecting those in crisis with emergency personnel and assistance. Applying timely assistance to the most extraordinary or routine events is a demanding position. They're skillful behind-the-scene efforts of coordinating our response while simultaneously assisting the callers feeds directly into the success on scene. This is an extremely unique individual it takes to be a 911 dispatcher. I had the pleasure of sitting in dispatch one time and had to take a 911 call, and I don't ever want to do it again. More than an essential lifeline plugged in all day and night, our team of professionals serve diligently over phone and radio. Through direct questions and rapid communications, they persevere with a steady delivery through all that they hear. They maintain their composure under immense pressure, and it's a testament to their level of care. So I would like to, on behalf of myself and the rest of city employees, I would like to thank the dispatchers for the work that they do. And if you have a chance, stop over there and thank them. And then in addition to Dispatchers Week, it's also National Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week. And we have 2 animal control officers, John Trammell and Chris Harwood. It's not all puppies and kittens. In the last year, our 2 ACOs responded to nearly 1,500 calls involving bees, horses, sheep, goats, snakes, squirrels, pigeons, guinea pigs, chickens, skunks, and more. Their work directly impacts the quality of life for our residents, whether they're protecting an animal from harm or protecting the public from a dangerous animal. Their responsive service helps facilitate responsible pet ownership, which contributes to orderly neighborhoods for our residents. So again, I would like to thank Animal Control Officers John Trammell and Chris Harwood. And additional thanks to patrol staff, because when our 2 animal control officers are off duty, our patrol officers step in and they supplement the response. And so that combined meets the needs of the people and the pets of Beaumont. And then I have a Couple reminders. Let me give you the Baker to Vegas update. So our team of 20 runners, 6 follow van drivers, 3 alternates, 3 command post staff, and 1 volunteer, all made up the Beaumont Baker to Vegas team on March 23rd. The team consisted of personnel from a variety of departments, including City Hall and PD. It started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and our team ran a total of 19 hours, 22 minutes, and 21 seconds. We landed 229th out of 258 teams. We actually estimated that we would finish at 19 hours and 14 minutes, so we were only 8 minutes off our time. It's a 120-mile relay race from Baker to Vegas. And just to give you a perspective, there are teams from Brazil, Australia, Canada, New York, Chicago, Oklahoma City, and many others. And I can attest on the radio, the Canadians were we know exactly what team they were on because of the way they talked on the radio. A reminder, the IOA Championship is coming up, and our official team is Mayor Pro Tem Mike Lara, Community Services Director Doug Story, and Assistant Planner Jill Fountain. Yes. And Councilmember White has also agreed to, we're switching roles. Councilmember White has also agreed to help volunteer. The IOA is looking for more volunteers, so if there's anybody out there, get in touch with me and I'll put you in touch.
I don't remember volunteering.
I thought you were gonna drive.
Yeah, I said I could. Yeah, I'm not going to be driving.
Oh, okay.
I didn't ask for the time off.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So they do.
I'm going to come and say, good luck as they all leave, but that's the
Well, that's
extent of that.
volunteering. Yeah,
Okay.
that's volunteering.
I've seen him drive a cart and he's doing us a favor, so I just wanted to put that out there.
And
Don't forget.
I've seen him golf.
Oh. Don't forget, we're competing with Banning, Calamasa, and San Jacinto for the trophy, so. I think that's all I have.
Mr. White, your light was on. Do you have a question for that?
Yeah, I did a comment. They won't, the animal officers will not pick up raccoons.
No.
And that is, those things are not fun to have in your backyard.
They're not.
But
They're mean.
I called everyone and no one would come get it because it's wildlife.
Wildlife.
Yeah.
They won't come
So,
for wildlife.
anyways.
Yeah, and bobcats too.
Yeah, I didn't know that about raccoons, but we have not anymore, but we had a huge pile of, you know what, in the backyard that we could not get rid of. Huge. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. All right, thank you. Item Q, future agenda items. We've got a couple items there. Any additions to that or questions?
I do.
Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I just, if, on this one, because of the money issue, I was looking at replacing, or beginning to replace missing or changing out existing street signs. But I understand that's probably gonna be a large dollar item, so we may wanna add a CIP, but I don't know if council's gonna wanna do that at this point because of the portrayal.
We certainly would like to discuss it, so it's a good idea to bring forward.
I like the new signs.
Okay.
I've seen them up on Bowman Avenue and they look great, so it'd be nice to get those put around town.
Mayor Pro Tem, can I clarify, citywide?
Citywide, yes, just some type of a program to begin doing that. And one other item, this may or may not be an agenda item. Looking back on a meeting that we had on February 6th where we discussed our plus policy, I had some recommendations or suggestions to modify that. There was a suggestion from Councilmember White that go back to the Land Use Committee. But as I understand it, there wasn't a clear consensus as to whether or not to do that. So if I could ask for consensus now to take that back to the Land Use Committee so that staff has direction on that? Or do we need to make that an agenda item?
No, I agree. Consensus is. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Mr. White?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that we didn't have a consensus at that time.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, sir. And on to council reports. Let's go right back to you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, all right, thank you. Well, attended the ribbon cutting for Nothing Bundt Cakes and was able to get out of there with a dozen buntinis for the family, so. Also, the ribbon cutting for Station 106, I just can't thank the staff enough. I understand that it took a large number of staff, so I don't want to reference everybody by name, but they did an excellent job in pulling it together, even through the fact that they didn't have any water, rainwater. I know that there were a lot involved, Ms. Nicole, your executive assistant as well. Again, everybody was involved, and it's great to see the teamwork pull something like that off, and it speaks to the leadership as well. So just thank you for that. It was a great event. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Voigt.
I too attended the ribbon cutting. What a beautiful building. Somebody who frequents fire stations, I think it's one of the best looking ones. So I may be biased, but I definitely like that station. So thank you to all the team, as Mayor Pro Tem Lara said, and it's exciting to see that going for our community. It's going to be a huge, huge impact. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to Officer Cruz and Murph. I thought they did an excellent job at the breakfast, and nice to see a sold out crowd, and just really proud of that program. So thank you guys for continuing to push that out. I attended the downtown market night meeting last night. Thank you to the staff for being there, as well as thank you to the community members that came out as well. I heard nothing but positivity, and so I'm extremely excited for that project moving forward. And then, of course, I am extremely excited for Nothing But Cakes in town. I had my cake 5 days later, and it was still delicious. So, and that is it for me.
All right, thank you, Mr. White.
So let me start by saying, if you're a Canadian, it's egibbs@beaumontca.gov. I attended the Welcome Home Vietnam Vets, and it was a great event. There was, every year they set a few people aside to be honored, but this time they did something a little bit different, which was they asked for anyone in the audience who may not be one of the 4 or 5 people honored to come up and speak, and it was a really great event. So if you haven't been to it before, I highly recommend it. The RCTC meeting, we approved the traffic relief plan. It was actually the executive director's last meeting, and Mayor, she's retiring at the end of the month, and Aaron Hake will take over. There was a lot of conversation. The whole discussion about the traffic relief plan took a long time, and then afterwards everyone wanted to take their turns to say goodbye. There is a rule, I've been told, I haven't confirmed this, that RCTC, if the meeting goes past 11:30, they provide lunch. I don't think we've ever gotten there. So at this point, it was 11:26. Everyone had spoken. It was my turn to speak, and I started to give my goodbyes, and the power in the entire building went out. Completely black. It came back on for a second with a little bit of generators. It came back on for about 3 or maybe 2 minutes, and then just the generators, and then it was gone. So they skipped having to provide us with lunch, and I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. But traffic relief plan has been approved. We also gave direction to staff to come back with a proposal for a possible tax measure. And so you'll be hearing a lot about that in the future. Tomorrow morning, you guys can ignore this because I know you won't be up, but tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, Banning is having their chamber event, and Aaron is going to be there to present the traffic relief plan at the chamber meeting. Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll go next, and we'll give Mr. Martinez the last word tonight. So I attended on the 4th, I attended the T-Now meeting, and I'd like to give a big shout out to Robert Vestal for giving a great presentation on our capital projects related to traffic. That's always a topic of discussion, so we appreciate that. I also attended a PASCOM meeting, nothing really to report out of that. But then on the 10th, with companionship meeting with our our city manager, Elizabeth Gibbs, we attended the East Valley Association of Realtors meeting, and they had a panel discussion with 3 neighboring cities, the city of Highland, the city of Redlands, and the city of Beaumont. And it was nice to hear that some of the same concerns come from other cities as well. So, but that was a nice event. We were well received, and it was a good presentation to be able to give an update as to how the city of Beaumont is doing. The fire station ribbon cutting, that was fantastic, and I received a personal comment from Mr. Art Welch, who said that was a very professional event and was very pleased on how his view of how the city was doing and so forth. So it was an honor to hear that and wanted to share that with everyone. And a shout out to Officer Cruz and Murph. Murph is a well-trained police officer. We had a volunteer, Noah Valdivia, who put on the suit. And as soon as Murph saw that suit, he went into his mode. And it was funny afterwards that Noah wanted to say, "Can I reintroduce myself to Murph without the suit? So if he ever sees me in public, he knows I'm not the bad guy." So it was quite neat. And then also Murph did a demonstration on finding a demo gun that was hidden, and he found that quite quickly. So that was neat. And so we appreciate the support that our patrol dogs provide for the city and for our neighboring agency as well. We all work together, and so appreciate that. So with that, we will. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Sam, I get into a routine. So
Just real quickly, Mayor, so I attended the recycled water 2x2x3 ad hoc meeting with Mr. White. It went really well. The youth council, unfortunately, like I said, didn't have quorum, but we're working on that for next year. And the ribbon cutting, the whole ceremony was awesome. And I'll tell you, for a person that had to campaign twice, that the fire station's coming. And back then it was West Side Fire Station, that's what we called it. You know, I'm so proud to see it come to materialization. So I really thank staff and everyone involved, because there was so many factors on that. It was a proud moment. Councilmember Laura and I were talking about it afterwards. It's like, it's great when you finally see that and you can touch what took so long to get to and all the obstacles we had. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
all right, thank you. Sorry about that, Mr. Martinez. And so we will close tonight's meeting at 8:30.